G'day everyone, welcome back to another edition of Guvs Hero Review videos. We are continuing again today with some of our past heroes of the month, specifically looking at the 5-star legendary red hero, Xander, the Daredevil Super Agent. So Xander first appeared in PuzzleCombat as the featured hero of the month back in February 2021. He was actually the 5th of the new generation of heroes added in, so the first ones that were not rotated round and round and round. Today, however, you can only summon Xander from the Manor of Legends portal, which appears once every 4 weeks. So this portal does have some of the worst odds in the game for summoning specific heroes. So we can see that it comes in at just a 0.9% chance for an unfeatured hero and a 1% chance for a featured hero of the month. So to put that in perspective, if you were to do 100 summons in this portal, there is a 63.4% probability of getting a featured hero of the month and a 59.5% probability of getting one of the unfeatured heroes of the month. If you were to dive down and try to get a specific hero, those probabilities decrease to 39.4% for a specific featured hero of the month, and just a 2.6% probability of getting a specific unfeatured hero of the month. So not great odds, and they will also diminish further as more heroes are added to the pool over time. In terms of Xander himself, let's just quickly jump across to my roster and we can see his artwork. I do have a copy of Xander. I have not leveled him, and I have no intentions to level him either, which we'll probably get into a little bit later in the video. But this is Xander's artwork. So Super Agent, so obviously he's got, the briefcase, the watch, the tie that stands on its own in the middle of his chest. There is also a spelling mistake there. Super Agent is not one word. It doesn't exist as a word. It's 2 words, but anyway, who's really counting? But yeah, that's his artwork. Feel free to pause it if you wish. Otherwise, let's head back over to the roster and carry on with the portal and carry on with the review. So, as is the case with all of these old heroes of the month, there is no family bonus at this time for the heroes of the month. Maybe sometime down the track SGG are going to add something, but for now we don't actually have anything available on Xander or any of the other heroes of the month. In terms of his personal stats, Xander comes in with 708 attack, 688 defense, and 1,343 HP. So there is a bit of a skew there, very marginal going from his defense stat towards the attack stat. It's nothing substantial though. It is also worth pointing out his power is overall quite low. He comes in with just 683 power. So power is just, it's a calculation of their stat distribution. So in the case of Xander, compared to someone like Thunk, who is the current hero of the month, he comes in with 731. Xander is just 683. So a fair step behind where Thunk's power and stat distribution is. His charge speed is set to 63, which is fast. This does require 9 tiles to charge or 5 ghosted tiles. It is only 2 units off the speed break at 65, so you just need a +2 speed improvement. You can do this any number of different ways. You've got the 4-star Tigger Happy, which gives +7, and there's also 2 5-star options that give +9 in the Chekhov SVK and the Firewing Trig. The double break requires +9, so you've got to get up to 72 speed. So obviously the 2 5-star guns achieve just this. You can also technically do it using the +7 gun, as long as you combine it with the class emblem node at +20. So this is obviously a crap ton of emblems just to use a 4-star weapon to speed break him twice, and we'll get into a bit more, but I highly do not recommend pushing Xander to +20. I don't really recommend putting any emblems on him, but I definitely don't recommend going all the way to +20. On the topic of his class, we are a spy class hero this time, so this means that he has a chance to scramble the enemy hero's charge when dealing damage. So I do genuinely like this perk. I think it's probably one of my favorites. The damage can come from most any source, provided it is attributed to Xander. So it can come from tiles, it can come from minions he owns, it can come from his special skill or slash attacks. There's a couple of different options there. But my personal history has shown that the scramble is just enough to disrupt the flow of the battle and allow me to just not die in many cases, or even just to survive and kill the enemies myself. So very much a good skill. Generally, I advise putting +1 on most spy class heroes. Xander, however, is one of those few heroes that I recommend not bothering with. So on that note, I don't really recommend putting emblems on Xander. We'll dive into the reasons why later in this review, but generally speaking, I don't think it's worth putting emblems on him. If you have to put emblems on him because you have you've got no other options, I would recommend going an attack path. So what that looks like is it looks something like what I've done here on Bunraku. Obviously, not recommending going this far down the tree. In the case of Xander, I'd probably stop him at like somewhere here. I'd cut him off, or at the worst, at that last attack node. He's generally not a good hero and not worth doing the emblems. But if you are going to do the emblems, it would look something like that. So pause it if you wish to, but otherwise we shall continue with his review. So Xander's special skill, it is titled Harrowing Hit, and well, between you and me, it's probably anything but a harrowing hit. But anyway, at level 10 skill and 63 fast speed, it will deal 225% damage to the target enemy. It will then reduce the max HP of the targeted enemy by 110, with the maximum reduction allowable set to 30% of the original HP. This effect will last until the end of the battle. There is also a minus 50% healing debuff that's applied to the target for 3 turns, which is another effect that cannot be cleared. And that's it. There's not a lot going on. So let's start off with the direct damage component. As always, damage is not the easiest thing to consistently calculate. So instead, we look at a hero's attack power, which is analogous to their final damage output. So attack power is just his attack stat, 708, multiplied by the percentage in his special skill, which in the case of Xander comes out to an attack power of 1,593. If we normalize that against the 9 tiles to charge his speed, we get, his skill, we get an attack power per tile of just 177. Coming in at a number 15 rank of the 17 available red snipers. It's pretty poor, particularly when you factor in that he's doing less than half the damage output or attack power output of the top end of the red options available. You know, double of his number comes out as 3,186, and you've got a lot of heroes that are doing more than that in terms of their attack power. So yeah, even if you were to remove the newer heroes, so you say, oh, but Xander's a bit old, surely he's not that bad. Well, he actually comes out and out the worst hero of the red snipers available, because both Hudson and Coney were actually released after Xander. So he sort of slides even further down the pole, becoming like the worst of, I think it's about 10 options that are the same age or older than him. Wildcat is on there. Wildcat's coming in at 222 attack power per tile, and she's even got delayed damage afterwards. So yeah, so I guess where I'm going with this is he's not a great damage dealer as it is. He is in fact the 9th worst sniper out of the 84 options in the game. That's in the bottom 10% of the snipers available too. So he's not a good damage dealer, and unlike most other heroes that are not good damage dealers, he doesn't have good secondary effects to really prop him up. So on the topic of those secondary effects, the next line of his skill is the maximum HP reduction. So it reduces the max health from the target by 110. Max health can't get lower than 30% of the original max health. This effect lasts until the end of the battle. So to quickly explain how this works, essentially when the enemy is hit by this effect, a portion of their HP bar becomes grayed out, and it no longer is available for the rest of the fight. So effectively, a hero with 1500 HP, they lose 110 of that, so it goes down to 1390 as their effective maximum HP for the rest of the fight. It's very, very similar to how the Monster Island permanent damage works, in terms of the 20% of damage received during that effect you can't heal it back. So the overall summary on this dot point is that it's quite a tiny amount, and you are on a very limited range. It is target only, so there is virtually going to be no material impact on the battle from this skill. So to expand a bit more, the max HP of reduction effect here in PuzzleCombat, it is relatively worthless. There's only 2 heroes that have this effect. One of them is Xander, the other one is Viper. And I'm talking like SpongeBob meme of thanks, this is worthless kind of like level of uselessness. It's an effect that was dragged across from Empires and Puzzles, and in Empires and Puzzles, it was very, very popular it was made popular by a hero called Alfreak. But when SGG moved it from Empires and Puzzles into PuzzleCombat, they didn't drag the execution or the skill method across as well, which made it so effective in Empires and Puzzles. Namely, they didn't bring across the magnitude nor the range of the effect. So in the case of Alfreak, she charged at 12 or 13 tiles. She was very slow. But when she fired her skill, she fired 5 instances of damage, like random damage like Emma. Each of those instances of damage did a fair whack of damage themselves, but then they also applied a minus 224 HP reduction. So that's 5 instances of the minus 224 HP. Each of those was about 16% of Alfreak's HP pool. So total reduction was in the realms of 1,120, or just shy of 80% of her total HP. By comparison, my old mate Xander here in PuzzleCombat, he's only doing 110 HP reduction. That's it. It's just above 8% of his total HP. To get to that maximum allowable reduced HP, so that's minus 70%, you would have to fire Xander at the same target 9 times. On the modern heroes like Thunk, the current hero of the month, it's only a 7% reduction to Thunk's HP. And it's not even like the other instance of it here in PuzzleCombat is any better. Viper, he's only doing 160 to 3 enemies. So it's a total HP reduction of 480, or 34% of Viper's HP bar. So it was a really, really, really great effect in Empires and Puzzles, and SGG go, hey, that's cool, let's put it over here. But then just completely stuffed up the execution of it. Like, it doesn't work in PuzzleCombat in the instances we've seen so far. I need to move on from it because otherwise we can be here for a while, but suffice to say, it's not much of an effect. You're not going to see any value from it. The final part of his skill is the healing reduction, which states that the target gets minus 50% healing received for 3 turns. This effect can't be cleared. So for those that have watched a number of my review videos, you'll know I'm generally not a big fan of this type of effect. The primary reason is that it's quite easy to counter. So you have a hero with reduced healing, cool. Well, I'll just bring armor or minions instead. Or, I'll wait the effect out. It's not going to be hugely impactful, generally speaking. In the hands of a player, it does have more uses. You can be a bit more selective in your targeting and be more selective in the timing of your casting. So you can wait until the enemy healer is about to fire their skill. Then you hit a hero that you're wanting to keep dead for as much as possible. That's going to be a little bit useful to yourself, all right? But in the hands of the AI, it's generally pretty worthless. At 50% reduction and the 3-turn duration, it is consistent. Most other instances of this healing reduction are 50%, and they do last for 3 turns. The 2 positives that I will give are, number 1, it's uncleansable, so you'll always get the full 3-turn effect. And number 2 is it kind of works with the max HP reduction, but that's really a really big stretch. There's sort of extended benefits as well, where it works with things like the medic talent, it works against things like the medic talent's healing spray, or even the field aid war buff. But on the balance, I really don't see this effect improving Xander in any way. So overall, I do think that Xander is quite a lackluster hero. From a damage perspective, he's poor. From the secondary effects, he's also still missing the mark. For me, the biggest way that you could improve Xander would be just to either make him a DOA 3 hitter, so make all of his effects targeted nearby. That would improve him dramatically. The other thing that would make him so much more beneficial is if you actually made the HP reduction something worthwhile, something worth having. And I'm talking, it's got to get up to like the realms of 500 HP, like to make it actually be effective. At just 110, like, come on, seriously, you're kidding yourself. So yeah, in complete and candid honesty, I would and have leveled most any red hero before I'll touch Xander. I have a copy for a collection, but that's it. Like, there's no intent for me to level Xander. So, as a result, Xander's grading is not good. Alright, so for War and Raid attacks, I'm going to give him a D grade for attack. This is somewhat slightly generous still. I think he could be arguably quite a bit lower than that. For War Machines, I'm going to keep him at a D grade. For Eventing, I'm going to drop him down to a E+ grade, just because there's nothing in his skill that contributes to Eventing. Okay, E+ might be a bit harsh. I'm going to give him a D-, and that's only on account of having a slightly okay attack stat. For the defense situations, he's not a defensive hero. He's effectively just going to be a body in the wall, so I'm going to give him a D- for his defense grades. For the tournament settings, Bloody Battle, I mean, he's got 3 lines to his skill, of which 2 of them become useless in Bloody Battle situations, so he's getting an E and an E grade for both attack and defense. For the buff booster tournaments, I'm going to give him a D- on attack and a D- on defense. And then finally, in the charged attack settings, he doesn't even get the benefit of being a charge attack specialist because he gets virtually no improvement from his charge speed, going from 63 to 65. So another D for attack and a D for defense. So overall, it's not a pretty picture for Xander. It comes out as being a D grade for his overall attack and a D- for his overall defense grade. So I am genuinely, truly sorry if you do have a copy of Xander, more so if you don't have options aside from Xander. I'm sure he will be useful, but to be honest, even some of the 4-star options are going to be more use than Xander. Like, you take a plus 18 or a plus 20 Paladin into battle, you're probably actually going to get more damage output than what you get from Xander. So yeah, that concludes the content for this review of Xander. I apologize that it is not a positive one, but again, these are just my personal thoughts and opinions on these heroes. I do love hearing your thoughts and feedback, so please do jump down to the comments section of the video and leave me a note. I do try to read and reply to as many of you as I can. If you did find the content to be good, useful, helpful, and all of that, feel free to like the video, subscribe to my channel and all of that, but most importantly, share this video around, because realistically, if this sort of thing has been useful for yourself, it's also going to be useful to the other people you play with as well. Thank you once again for tuning in and joining me. I do hope that I will see you again soon in another video, but until then, good luck, stay safe, and happy gaming. Cheers, bye!